Okay, we're going to start on Pehei Amid Beis. Let's see, maybe 15 lines from the bottom. Elio. The line starts Masnaisa Damar Masnina. It's V'itzai, then it says Elio. Can we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day? And in this course of our learning, Shav the Beis Hamikdash. Learning, just 1 second, let's type something here. Sorry about that. Learning Lili Nishmas, Savakal Devas Baruch Binyamin, and Shanasa Ben Metzia, and also for Shlema for Avon David and Sarah. Whoever else needs a for Shlema. Okay, so Elio Havishchiach the Masifta the Rebbe. In the yeshiva of Rebbe, they had a visitor that would frequent. His name was Elio Navi. He would come into the yeshiva. Yomi Achad, Reish Yarchav. One day it was Rosh Chodesh. Nagalev Alayasa. He was delayed. He didn't come. Amarlei. So he said to him, Rebbe must have said to Elio, "My time in Nagalev. How come you were late? How come you didn't come?" Amarlei Adu Kimna Lavram Mashina Yadei Matzila Magninalei. Until I wake up Avram Avinu, I wash his hands, and he davens, and then I lay him back down. So it takes a long time. Yeah, sounds like a nursing home job. So except this is for passed away already. This is it wakes him up to daven. Look, Minu Bahadi Adadi, why don't you wake them all up together? So Sabri Takfi Barachmi and Maisilei Mashiach Blazmani. They're gonna daven so hard if they all wake up together that Mashiach's gonna come and it's not and before it's time. So they don't allow me to wake them all up together. So he says, Amalei Yeshtuk Masam Bailamazez, that anyone similar to this that's still alive now, Amalei Ikar Reb Chia Banav. Yeah, Reb Chia and his sons, they could daven with the same power. Goes to Rebbe Tanisa, so Rebbe decrees a fast day. Achtinol Reb Chia Banav, and he makes Reb Chia Banav go down to daven for the Amud. There used to be davening for the Amud instead of going up, went down. So like was Hayorid Lifnei Ateva. Right, so Amar Masha Baruch. They were davening and they said, Masha Baruch, the wind should blow. And Ashbazika, the wind started to blow. Amar Meir Dageshem, they said, and he makes the rain fall. Basamitra, and the rain fell. Matlamemer Machai Mason, they're coming to Machai Mason. Raga Shalma, the world started to shake. Amri Barakia, so they said in the heavens, Mangoli Rasi Balma, who gave away our secret? Amri Elio, they said Elio was the one that sang secrets. Well, Asiul Elio, they bring Elio in Machyu Shitin Pulse Denura. They whip him with 60 lashes of fire. That's 60 lashes of fire. Okay. Asa, so Leo comes, Idmile Keduva Denura, he appears to them like a bear made out of fire. And Al Benaya Vitardino went between them and he disturbed their concentration. Could have done it with the cell phone ringing, but back then it had to be a bear of fire. So Shmuel, okay, that's the story. Shmuel Yarchina Asid Rebbe Habib. Shmuel Yarchina, Shmuel the astronomer, was the doctor of Rebbe. No, the Rashi says, did I see this? Yeah, Rashi says that this is our Shmuel. When Shmuel, Rav and Shmuel, this is Shmuel. He was by Rebbe and he was a doctor. Shmuel bar Abba. Rashi says, yeah. Yeah, we don't actually know that Shmuel's father's name is Abba. We always call him Avua de Shmuel, Shmuel's father. But anyway, I think maybe we did know that. I'm not sure. Rashi says Shmuel bar Abba is his name. Well, Cholas Rebbe Beni. Rebbe had a ailment in his eye. Amalei Imli Leisama. I'll put a potion into it. Amalei Leyachelna. No, it hurts too much. You can't do that. Yashtali Mishtar. I'll put a cream like above it. Amalei Leyachelna. That's also going to be too much. Avimaisivle Begufta de Samni. He put it in a tube of herbs. Tusi Beisadia underneath his pillow. Beitzi, and he got healed. Now, Rashi says that it was so strong, this potion, that it went through the skull. It penetrated through the skull, and it was able to heal the eyes through the back. And maybe the what's it called, the occipital cortex is the eyes is right in the part of the brain that's attached to the eyes. It's right in the back. Rashi doesn't say that, but okay. Yeah. Okay, have him come star Rebbe lemismeche. Rebbe wanted to give him smicha. Was trying hard to give him smicha. But it never worked out. Yeah, a lot of these things about smicha is a little bit confusing because why don't you just write him a document when no one's looking? Let's see, just what is the event that needs to take place that is so difficult to give him smicha? Just say, okay, he has to be there and this and like that story with Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, when he's between mountains, between cities, and anyway, okay, it sounds like there was a whole event that needed to take place, and it was difficult to arrange. Amalei. So Shmuel says to Rebbe, Leilat Stamar, don't be distressed over this. I saw the book of Adam Rishon, Sivbei, and in that book, it says, it was an old book, I guess, Shmuel Yarchina, Chacham Yiskri. Shmuel Yarchina, Shmuel the astronomer, is going to be called a Chacham. Rebbe La Yiskri, but it's not going to be called a Rebbe. It won't be called a rabbi. But Asad Rebbe Al Yadei Tehei, and Rebbe will get healed through his hands. All of this is written in the book. Apparently, Adam Rishon had a book that had all the future generations in it. It said everything that was going to happen. So he says, don't worry about it. In the book, I wasn't a rabbi anyway. Hill says that you need 3 sages for the ordination. Did you know that? And if the Nasi was one of the 3 that have those, then must also. Is that a Gemara Sanhedrin? That you need the.
No, the Gemara in Sanhedrin questions where were the 3 by Yehuda ben Baba, and concludes that they weren't mentioned because they didn't want to take away from the honor of ben Baba.
Yeah, interesting.
The other thing that's missing here is there's an aspect of Smika, which is the people accepting the person as an authoritative figure. So it's hard to figure out how to do it in secret.
Right. That's interesting. In other words, the rabbis are doing an event on behalf of the congregation.
Well, I read that this is the reason for the Chag Smicha. It's the vestige of this idea that the public accepts the person as an authority. The reason to have people there.
So the rabbi is just the representative of the public.
No, there are 2 aspects to it. 2 aspects. One is the conferring of authority from a teacher who can do so. And second is people accepting this rabbi as an authority. That's what I've read.
Where do you read about this?
Oh, lots of Sfarim.
Okay. It's not a modern. Is it a modern interpretation, or is that a traditional?
No. It's people trying to understand what the requirements were back in the day. But it's pretty well accepted that the Chagas Mika, is the remnant of that.
Interesting. I thought the Chagas Mika was just like a bas mitzvah.
I did too till I read one of these.
A school graduation party.
I did too till I read one of these good books. There's a book written by someone named Michael Berger called Rabbinic Authority.
Oh, how do I know that name?
To the best of my knowledge, it's the only significant book he's written.
Okay. Yeah, very good. 13b. Smicha Skenim Begimel. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, and then it says Rabbi Reb Nassan Seif Mishnah. We're continuing to read the book of Adam Marishan. It says that Rabbi and Reb Nassan are the end of the Mishnah, and Rav Ashi and Ravina Seifira. Rav Ashi and Ravina are going to be the end of the paskening. Simanach, and if you want to remember this, a proof. Adavei al Mikdashay al. Does it say Kel Avina Lachrisam? Is it Al El Avina Lachrisam? What does it say over there? Adavei al Mikdashay El Avina Lachrisam. So until I come to the sanctuary, till I understand their end, which is Mikdashay is Rav Ashi and Avina is Ravina. That's the symbol there. Amar Rav Kana. Rav Kana says, "Ishtoyli chama bar brate dechasa." He says that this fellow Chama, Rav Chama, who is the grandson of Chasa, the son of the daughter of Chasa, and it could be another Chama as well. There's two versions here of the story. Said over to me the following. This is Rav Kana talking. It's probably a later Rav Kana. Says Rabbi Bar Nachmeni Agav Shmada Nachnafshi. Rabbi Bar Nachmeni, who's the Rabbah that we always talk about, was a teacher of Abai and Rava. He says he died because of persecution. What happened? Achlu Beikoitza Be Malka. He was they informed on him by the king. Amr, they said, Ikachad Gavr Biyudai, the Kamavatal Tracer Alpha Gavr Yisrael. There's a Jewish man that not a Mavatal. He what? No, he not nullifies, but he stops 12,000 Jewish men from paying the head tax during a month in the summer and a month in the winter. Why is that? Because they would go to the town to take the tax, and the people weren't there. They were busy at the yeshiva. They would come 1 month. They would come twice a year at the Yar Chikala. So Shadru Pristika the Malka Basre, they sent a officer after him. And they didn't find him. Why? Because he ran away from Pumpadisa, where Rabbah was the Rosh Hashiva, and he went to Accra. And then from Accra, he went to Agma, to the meadow. From the meadow, he went to the city of Shkin, and Mishkin Trifa. Then he went to the Trifa, probably another place. And Mitrifa Laina Demayim, to the spring or something. Meina Demayim, he went back to Pumpadisa. Now, but Pumpadisa Ashkechei, he actually found him in Pumpadisa. This is back where he started. But he went to running around and to escape from this officer. Ikla pristika de malka lahu ushpisa de rabba. Turns out that the pristika came to this officer came to exactly the same inn where Rabba was staying. Krivataka kame. They bring a plate, it's a table. Bring the table in front of this officer. Ashkur tre kasi. Give him to drink 2 cups of whatever, wine, water, tea. They didn't have tea. And then they took the table away. His face turned around. That means actually I have no clue what that means, but that's what it says. His face turned around backwards, right?
From Pesach, it says one who drinks a pair of drinks puts himself in danger of being harmed by certain things.
Yeah, what happened is he fell under the spell of zugais, which is anything that's an even number. The Gemara over there, the Gemara Pesachim talks about the problem with having the 4 cups of wine because it goes under the even number problem. Always supposed to have an odd number of drinks, not an even number. So this guy, they brought him 2, and then they took away the table, so he ended up with the even number. So he goes under the spell of zugais. Amrulay, so they said to Rabba, my navid lay, what should we do for this guy? Gaffer the Malko. He's a man of the king. We're gonna get in trouble if he doesn't get better. Amrlahu, bring the table back. Ashkur chad kasa. This is in Pesachim as well. The Gemara over there says this. Ashkur chad kasa. Give him 1 cup to drink, but that little takim and take the cup away. He'll have an odd number again. But let's say he'll be fine. Well, Avdullah Hachivitzi, that's not what happened. They did that and he got better. Amar, the fellow says, Mida Yadana, the Gavra the Kabina Hacho. The guy says, I know that the fellow that I'm looking for, which is Rabbah, is for sure here in this inn, or else no one else would have had such wisdom to heal me. He searched after him, he found him. Amar Zilna Meha, he tells Rabbah, he says, I'm going back now, but I'm imiktal katlulu gavra lemaglina. Even if they're going to kill me, I'm not going to say, because you saved my life, I'm not going to inform on you that I found you. But if they're going to torture me, then menaglinle, then maglina. If they're going to torture me, then I will reveal. Well, Asiula Kame, they bring him in front of him. I guess he was there, wasn't there. I don't know. I'm not sure why they bring him back again. Aile Ladruna, they put him into some sort of room that's like a I don't know, chamber. Vitarki Lababa, I'm paying. They lock the door in front of him. They close the door in front of him. Boy Rachame. Now it looks like I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It looks like he's holding him in a holding place in case they're going to torture him. He wants to have him. He wants to have access to him. That's what it looks like. But yeah. Boy Rachame, Rabba davens, Parak Ashisa, the wall collapsed. Arak Vasalagman, he runs out into the meadow. Aviyasev Agirda de Dikula, he was sitting on a stump of a palm tree. Bikagaris, and he's learning. Then an argument takes place in heaven. What about if there's a doubt? It goes like this. When it comes to the laws of tzaras, if there's a spot of tzaras and then a hair grows in it, a white hair grows in it, so then the spot becomes tameh, right? The white hair, is it 2 hairs or 1 hair? It's 1 hair. So if the hair turns white, or if the white hair grows in that spot, so then he's tummy. If the white hair was there before and the spot then appears surrounding it, then he's going to be tar. That's not a sign of tumah. It's only if the spot's there and then the hair comes. What about if there's a doubt, which came first? When he sees it, he sees a spot and the hair, but he doesn't know if the hair was there before or if it came after. So Hakadosh Baruch Hu Amatar. So Hashem says, that he's tar. However, Kulu Masifta Dirakia, the whole yeshiva in heaven, Amri, they say that tummy, that he's tummy. Amri man Noichach, they said, who's going to tell us who's right over here? So they said, Noichach Rabba Bar Nachmeni. Rabba Bar Nachmeni is going to decide, even though he's in this world, he's going to decide this court case in heaven. Dama Rabba Bar Nachmeni, Ani Yachid ben Nagam and Yachid ben Alis, because Rabba Bar Nachmeni said that I'm the expert in the Goyim, I'm an expert in Alis, which is two very difficult Mishnayos. They sent a messenger to bring him. That's it's like what was the joke with the guy that passed away? These two friends, they loved baseball, so they said, "I wonder if there's baseball in heaven." He said, "Well, whoever passes away first will tell the other one, there's baseball." So one dies anyway. Comes to his friend in the dream. He says, "Good news, good news and bad news. Good news is there is baseball here in heaven. The bad news is you're pitching tomorrow." So anyway, they sent Lahavdil. They send someone to bring Rabbi Bar Nachmeni to the yeshiva. Okay. Lehavi Matzi Malach Hamavas the Mikrav like the Malach Hamavas couldn't get close to him. Midlayavika Pasik Pum Migirsa, because he never stopped learning Torah. This is chapter 1 of Tanya. Remember, it quotes that Rabba, how could he think that Rabba was a Beinni if he never stopped learning Torah? Right? So that's a quote from here. That's this Gemara. And King David also has a similar story in Shabbos, right? Yeah, remember that story in Shabbos where he was walking, the step broke or something, and that's how he stopped learning for a second. So Adahachi, meanwhile, Nashiv Zika Vahavish Beni Kani, a big wind came and started to blow between the reeds. Savar Gunda de Parshiu, he thinks that it's the a legion of soldiers that are coming to get him. Amar, he says, Teinach nafshe de ugaver v'liyimser b'yada de malchusa, that I'd rather die and not be handed over to the kingdom. Kavakanach nafshe, so now, okay, so he stopped learning for a second, I guess, and then the Malach Mavas gets him. And Amar Tar, he pronounces, but like he rules in according to the way Hashem ruled, that if there's a doubt that he's tar, Amar tar tar, that's what he says, tar tar. Yetza Baskal Vamra, the heavenly voice comes out and says, Ashrecha Rabba Bar Nachmeni, lucky are you or happy are you, Rabba Bar Nachmeni Shegufach tar, that your body is pure, Yetza Nishmasach Betar, and your soul left with the word tar. Nafal Piska Mirakia B'Pumpadisa. A note fell from heaven in Pumpadisa. Rabbi Bar Nachmeni is Spakish Yeshiva Shel Maila. That Rabbi Bar Nachmeni was asked to come to the heavenly yeshiva. Yeah, I saw someone writing that when it says Nafal Piska Mirakia Pumpadisa, Nafal Piska Mirakia, it doesn't mean that it was actually a paper, no, but that it was a thought that came into people's minds. Yeah, it would have been more exciting if it would have been a note, like floating down to maybe. Anyway, Nafka Abaya V'Rava Kula Rabbanan Li'asuki Bey. Abaya and Rava, as the students and all the sages, they went out to take care of the body. The only problem is they didn't know where he was, because so Azal Lagma, they went out to the meadow, and Chasud Safri the Metalale V'Kaimi, they seized birds that are hovering over the same place. A bunch of birds. Well, and then they're shading an area. Amri, they said, Mamina Hasamhu, he must be over there. That's the birds were protecting him from the sun. They eulogized him for 3 days and for 3 nights. Nafal Piska, and the note comes down. Called the Pirish Yebenida. Anyone that leaves is going to be in Chayrim. So okay, no one's leaving now. Saftu Shiva Yomi. They eulogized him for 7 days. Nafal Piska, a note came down. You can go home. Okay. Ahu Yaima, that day, the Nach Nafshe, that Rabbah passed away, Dalye Zafa, a big like this is a tidal wave or a big wind. A storm wind came. There was this merchant, Kirachav Gamla, that was riding his camel, and it lifted him up. Mehai Gisa dinar papa b'shadi b'hach Gisa. From one side of the river to the other side. It sounds like a tornado, where it lifts someone up and just puts him down somewhere else. So if he's lucky. So Amar, he says, "My hi, what's going on? How come I'm on the other side of the river?" So I'm relayed. They said to him, "Nach nafshi, Rab Bar Nachmani," because Rab Bar Nachmani passed away. Amalafanav, Bainer Shloim says, "Master of the world." This is this merchant, like an Arab merchant. He says, "Kuli alma didachu." The whole entire world is yours. Rabbi Bar Nachmani didach. And Rabbi Bar Nachmani is also yours. At Rabbi didach. You're to Rabbi and Rabbi is to you, which means like you're Rabbi, you're best friends with Rabbi and Rabbi is your best friend. Why are you destroying the world? What's the problem? You Rabbi's yours and you have him. Nach Zafa, the wind subsided. Reb Shimon ben Chalafta Bal Basra Hava. Now, Reb Shimon ben Chalafta is taking us back to what we said before, how Rav Elazar bar Shimon and Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yossi were very heavy. Remember, we had that discussion with the Roman matron. Well, before Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish. So, but we got carried away with some other topics over there because we were saying how beautiful Rabbi Yochanan was, and then we got carried away. But now back to the topic that we were talking about. So Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta was also very heavy. Yom Echad, one day, Havi Chamim Alei, he was hot. Havi Salik v'Yosef Ashina Detura. Sounds like he was sitting on a cliff. Is that how they translate it? Peak of a mountain. Amalei Labrati tells to his daughter, says, "Biti, my daughter, Hanifu alai b'manifa, fan me with your fan, and I'll give you, I guess, bundles of nerd, the spikenard, I think. How do they translate it? Nerd. They don't translate it. But how do they translate it in the Koran? The Koran will give you a translation, probably. Nerd. It's in the Torah.
Packages.
Yeah, spikenard. Yeah, okay. It's funny because the word nerd is in the word spikenard. Spikenard. Yeah. Okay. I have to ask my wife if she knows what herb that is. I've never seen it. But Adahachi Nashbazika. Meanwhile, he was hot, so he was asking his daughter to fan him. Meanwhile, a wind came. Amar kama kikin dined lamari dichi. I owe a lot of spikenard to this to the one that fanned me, gave me this wind, to the master of this wind. Okay. Now we go back to the halacha. Yeah. We still have a little bit of a gadata, but it's not the same. Now it's more like explaining psukim. Okay, it says Hakol Kaminig Medina. When it came to feeding workers, we said that it's whatever the custom is. It would depend on what time they leave in the morning and what time they come home. That was up to the custom of the local custom. What do you mean when you said that everything goes according? What's the everything? Goes according to the local custom. It's coming to include a place where the custom is that before they set out, they always eat bread and they drink a little bit. the Amar that in such a case, if the employer says Kadima v'aisilahu, why don't you go to the field and start working, and I'll bring you the bread and the water. So then, if that's what he says, Amri, they say to him, that no, we don't buy that. We want to do it the way the custom is, and even though he's going to bring it to them, but they want to eat before they go, and they can demand that because that's the local custom. Okay, then we said about Ma'aser Rabbi Yochanan ben Masya Sham Levnei Tzei Uschar Chulu. There was a story with Rabbi Yochanan ben Masya told to his son, go and hire workers, and he went and he hired them, and he told them he's going to feed them, and he comes back. His father says, "Oh, well, look at what we're never going to be able to satisfy that obligation that you just made for us." The Gemara says, "Ma'aser Lister." The story is supposed to be supporting the halacha, but over here the story is contradicting the halacha, because the halacha was that everything goes according to the custom. And now you bring a story where it doesn't go according to the custom. You're going to have to feed them Suda Shleima. The Gemara says, well, this is missing word. I have to read it the following. The impasik lemezayna, if he makes up with them food, ribalam, then obviously he's increasing. My Sanami, Rabbi Yochanan ben Masya, Shamal of Nice, says, Cholan, Pailam, Halach, Paslam, Mazen, Shkwes, Love, Amalai, Benia Filata, Isa, Kasuda, Shlem, Beshait, Yasadeh, Chivasa, Chimayam, Shemini Avmis, Biakav. Okay. We even have a story that supports that, because since he had to supply food even without them saying anything. And now that he's saying that he's going to supply them with food, that means that he's coming to increase their food supply. How much is it going to be? Well, since there's children of Avmis Yaakov, it's going to need to be even more than Shleim Melech. That's the because if he wouldn't have said anything, it would have been a Minhag Medina. Now that he said something, now obviously you're going to increase that.
Is it possible that here they go by the custom of the worker, and because they're Jews, and then in the other case they go by the custom of the place because they're non-Jews?
There's no such thing as a custom of a worker. Only a custom of a place.
The custom of the place. Then
There is only customs of places. Yeah, it's an interesting thing when it comes to minhagim, like custom. There's no such thing as my custom. It's only a location custom. Now it turns out that because we came from different locations, so our families have different custom. But originally, a custom meant the custom of the place. We're going to say, no one says like this. No one says, "Oh, I learned Gemara at 5:30 in the morning." That means that's my custom. That means now my children have to learn Gemara at 5:30 in the morning. Minhag, it's the custom. They have to do it. There's no such thing. Just because you did it doesn't mean the custom means that the city does it. The whole city says Tilim on Shabbos Mevarchim in Kfar Chabad. And when you're in Kfar Chabad, you probably have to say Tilim on Shabbos Mevarchim, even if you're not Lubavitch. Probably because that's the local custom. You probably have to follow it.
so it can't be that Jews, since they have that descendant, you have to give them like a huge like meal, and then
No, those are two things. One thing is the custom. Custom is that you feed them whatever it is. Then he made up with them that he's going to feed them. So now then it's beyond the custom. So now he has to feed them what they're deserving. What are they deserving? Well, they're Bnei Avnei Yaakov. If it would have been a Gentile, then they would feed them what they're deserving, whatever would be appropriate. Yeah.
What's odd about this discussion, there's no mention of Kol Tanai Mamon Kayam. You know, the custom is usually just, the default position if you don't have an agreement otherwise.
Right. So here it looks like he's making a new something else beyond the custom, because he's agreeing to feed them. He could have just relied on the custom, whatever. I didn't have to say anything.
So since he said the extra thing, even for a Gentile, he would have to be a little bit more than the custom.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, Lememra, do you mean to say the Sudasa da Avram Avinu Adifa Midashleima? That Avram Avinu's meal was bigger than Shleima's meal? getting into like a technical thing over there, like who served more at their meal. But the problem is we have a pasuk that talks about the description of Shleima's meal. It says, "Vayi lechem Shleima," the meal of Shleima l'yom echad for one day, for shleishim kor silas, 30 kor. Each kor is 30 sa of silas, of flowers. That's a lot of flour. It's a lot of flour. Shishim kor kemach, and then there's another 60 kor of this other coarse flour. Asara bakar briam, there's 10 cattle. Asara bakar rei, another type of cattle. It's supposed to be estrim, 20. Umeyatzain, 100 sheep. Levad me'al tzivi achmar barbur mavusim, besides 4, a ram, a deer, and a yachmar. I don't know what a yachmar is. Does it say over there? Gazelle? Something? I don't know. Yachmar. And barbur mavusim, which sounds like fattened geese, but let's see. Have they translated barbur mavusim? Huh? Hens, fattened hens. Okay. It sounds like one of the Zmiras has that barburim vidagim, something. It's one of the songs. I don't remember them. Been in Chabad too long. Barburim Muslav vidagim. Va'amar ben Gurion ben Astiyain Mishmei Derav, and Gurion ben Astiyain. Okay. And the name of Rav says, Halal al shel tabachim. This was just, that amount of flour was just to seal the pots from what they were making, because they would have to seal the pot to cook it better. So they would put like a dough around it to keep the pot closed. And so this was, even all that flour was not even what they were making. That was just on the side. That was just to seal the pots. In Rabbi Yitzchak, that was only for this a special dish that was called tzike kedera. That's besides for the other things. And Rabbi Yitzchak says, Elef nashim Shleima. Shleima had 1,000 wives. Each one of the wives was cooking a storm like this for each one in their own houses. This is 1,000 times this. And my time was the reason. Maybe he's going to come today. Maybe it's going to, each one says, maybe it's going to come here today. This has got to be a lot of waste. I don't know who's going to eat all of this leftover. It's like a wedding, 1,000 weddings every night. Maybe Shleima is going to come. And okay, Vilagabe Avram, Ksivan by Avram, it just says, Velabakaratz Avram. Avram runs to the cattle. Vikach ben Bakar, he takes a rachbetayv. He takes one animal, soft and good. Rach, probably young and good. Rav Yehuda Merav says Ben Bakar Echad. It says an animal. Okay, that's one. Rach means young, is Shnayim. B'tayiv and good is Shleishas. Okay, so 3 animals. So what are you telling me that Avram Yitzchak Yaakov is even greater than Shleima's meal? Over there was like loads of animals and flour and everything, and here is just 3 animals. Even together with Rav Yehuda Merav. Elaborating on this, on the one animal that he took, that it's not really one, it's 3, but it's still only 3 to, looks like loads. It says Hassam over there, Tlasa Turi, Tlasa Gavri. Over there, the reason is why it's considered so much, because each person got 1 animal. But by Shlomo Melech, all that food was for all of Israel. It looked like the whole country ate at Shlomo's table, it looks like.
The wives didn't know how many people were going to show up, so that they made more than,
So they're adding. Hillel's telling me that it wasn't just Shleima coming to them; it was Shleima coming with all his entourage that would come to each wife. So they were cooking for all the entourage. I was assuming that Shleima would come, and he would maybe want this cut of meat, that cut of meat. You have to make every possible type of sushi. But maybe Shlomo likes this type, maybe likes that type, and then the rest. Okay, he takes one from here, one from there, but it leaves the rest for the. Okay. Shenema, as it says, Yudav Yisrael Rabim Kachol Asher Al Sfas Hayam. says that Judah and Israel were so many that it was like the sand on the sea, on the beach. My barbur mabusim. What does it mean? Stuffed hands. Amar Rav. Rav says they would actually force feed it, and stuff it. Shmuel says no. They would let it just eat as much as it wanted, but not that they forced it. It happens to be a machlaikas somewhere else. If you force feed an animal, if there's a problem of maybe causing the animal to become a treifa, if you force the food into the mouth, it could be you can scratch something or cut something inside. And it's actually machlaikas Rav and Shmuel. Rav says that it's kosher, and Shmuel says that it's treif. Based on that, we have a machlaikas here what they were doing to these birds that Shlomo Melech was using. We don't say that there's animal abuse when there's human benefit to it. Yeah, we can kill an animal.
Oh, but it's for the purpose of eating.
And so this is for the purpose of eating.
Make it grow faster.
Right. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Mevi'in tur mimar isai b'dlayanis." They bring an ox without that never worked. Just gets fat. Yeah, never worked. And they bring also a hen from Ashpasa. What is Ashpasa? It means it's like where it's born or something. Roost. And the roost means like it's a nest. That was that didn't need to raise the young. So it's also heavier. It's all Amar Rabbi Yochanan muvchash behemoth shar. Rabbi Yochanan says the best of the animals to eat is an ox, and muvchash beifus the best of the birds is a hen. Amar Meimar says zagsa uchmasa, which means a black hen, beiba tanisa. That's has like a big stomach. The mashkacha beniatzri that's found by the either wine press or olive press. Metzia pasya kanya, that it can't even step over a reed because it's so heavy that it can hardly move. That's the. I guess we're going back to explain barburim avusim.
Says that regarding the hen and the ox, they were like free range, so they were free like to eat whatever they wanted. And today, for free range, they charge you double or triple the price. Better
Where did you see the Rabbi Yochanan before said that it's free range? Yeah. There is when you get the chickens that are on the farm that aren't like made for like commercialized and all of that, so the meat is not really edible. Those chickens, small muscle and whatever. You would make soup out of it. That was you couldn't really eat. It wasn't like they give chicken. They give you chicken today. It's like this fat thing, you know. Those chicken wasn't fat. That's why I think our tradition of chicken soup was because you really couldn't eat the chickens on the farm. They're running around. They're full of muscle.
I heard that the original chickens were like black and white. Some customs follow like they don't eat those chickens, and they're horrible.
Oh yeah.
What you're saying.
Okay. Well, it's if you get organic chickens, they're much more lean. They don't have all that plumpness to it like you get like this fat. You end up getting less, more expensive, and you get less. Apparently, it's probably healthier for you, but
probably missing the hormones.
Avram ran to the cattle. Amarav Yud Amarav. Yeah, that's the big deal. Amarav Yud Amarav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of his teacher Rav Ben Bakar Zechad. We quoted this before. Ben bakar means one animal. Rach, when it says that it's young, that's referring to the second animal. B'toiv, and it's good, that's referring to the third animal. Be'machad, how do you know that? Maybe it's all one animal. Maybe it's all adjectives. He ran to get the animal that's young and good. It's all one animal. Where it says no, and this is part of the let's say it's one, like people say that it's young and good. The Gemara says that's the end of the question. The Gemara says let the pasuk say rach toiv, young good, my vitoiv and good. That extra vav is coming to teach me that it's an additional animal. In a tray, so maybe there's only two animals. So the Gemara says no, mida toiv l'drasha. Since the word toiv is a drasha, that's telling me it's an extra animal. So therefore, rachnam l'drasha, when it says young, it's also adding an extra animal. So there were three animals there. Masiv Rabba Barula v'tim Rav Hoshe v'tim Rav Nasan Barisha. Rabba Barula, some say it was Rav Hoshe, some say Rav Nasan Barisha. He asked the following question. It says, V'tin elanar v'yamar l'asisaysa. He gave it to the lad, and he hurried to do it. What are you telling me that there's three animals? It says l'asisaysa, to do it. My answer is kol chad v'chad yave lenar chad. Each one of them he gave to one lad, and each lad had to prepare one of the animals. He took butter and milk and the animal that he made, and he put it in front of them. Yeah, it sounds like milk and meat, but I guess the milk went first. So you don't have to wait after the milk. You only have to wait after meat before milk. So milk first. This is it. This is Avram's ten. We're quoting the verses about Avram. It says, okay, the kama the matya isila kamayu, that as each one was ready, he brought it in front of them. Lama le tlasa. Why does he need three animals? Tiske bechad. One animal should be enough. He wanted to feed them tongue with mustard, and each animal only has one tongue, so he had to kill three animals to get three tongues. Amrab Tanchem ben Chaniloi. Tanchem ben Chaniloi says, Loilam al Yishan Adam in a minute, no one should change from the custom. Moshe went up to heaven and he didn't eat bread. But the angels came down and they ate bread. See? As in Rome, do as the Romans. The Gemara says, do you think they really ate? The angels ate? Ella. They made it look, they appeared as if they ate. Yeah. Although when we learned about Shimshon, I don't think it was in the Gemara, but we said that the angel that ate by Avram, when Shimshon's father offered him to eat, Manoach offered him food to eat, he says, no. I've been working off the weight that I gained by Avram. Wasn't able to go back up to heaven. So now I've just finally, it's my day to go. I finally can make it back. On the elevator, there's a weight limit. So anyway, okay.
So is the Gemara saying Moshe did something wrong by not eating?
No. The Gemara is saying that Moshe, when he was in heaven, the angels don't eat, so he followed the local custom of not eating.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if you go to France, you have to eat like those little portions that they serve, and at least in America, the French restaurants, or at least the ones over here in Surfside, give these little portions, like. Yeah, like they say, listen, I'm America, I eat burgers, like one, and then another burger, and another burger, another French.
I don't know if I should bother asking a question about the Sagada, but then why did the Malakim come down and eat here?
Because they were, our local custom here is to eat food.
Oh, they were eating because they came down. Yeah. He wasn't eating because he went
custom in heaven was not to eat. So Moshe goes to heaven, he doesn't eat. And the angels come down and they eat. So I'm just complaining about the French restaurants in America that they serve these little portions. The local custom over here is to serve bigger portions. But they're saying when you walk into our restaurant, you're in France. Yeah. Okay.
That's probably why they spend so much money on decoration.
Yeah.
Make it a difference.
Rav Yehuda says name of Rav Kol Mashasa Avram Lamalach Yashar Spatzma Yasa. Everything that Avram did for the angels that he did on his own, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Labana Ba'atzmai. Oh, I'm sorry, Ba'atzmai. I have to read it like this. Kol Mashasa Avram Kol Mashasa Avram Lamalach Yashar Spatzmai. So Asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu Labana Ba'atzmai. That's the way to read it. Anything that Avram did for the angels, Hashem did for us Himself. Anything, okay. And anything that Avram did with the messengers, so Hashem did for His sons, for His children, also with the messengers. So now we go through it. Elabaka Ratz Avram. Avram ran to get the animal. It says Baruch Nasa Meis Hashem. Says that the wind came from God. Okay, it's directly from Hashem, and this was to bring the slav, the quail. Bikachema v'chalav. He took the butter and the milk. Probably it goes along with bread, I guess. And the pasuk says, "Inimanta lachem, I will rain down on you lechem min hashemayim, bread from heaven." He stood over them, serving them. Says that Hashem stood by the cleft in the rock, and when Moshe to show him about how to pray. Avram Hailachim Mashalchim. We're gonna have another Gemara about that. That's gonna be contradiction or arguing on this. Avram Hailachim Mashalchim. Avram went to send them off. Hashem Hailach Lifneim Yamim. Hashem went together with them by day. This is by the clouds. Yukach Namat Mayim. Take some water. It says Vikisa Batzur V'yatzimenu Mayim. This was already with the messenger. Right? Yeah, hit the rock and the water will come out. Wasn't Hashem giving the water? He had to do an action. It came out of the rock. Okay. Now the Gemara says, "Upliga de Rav Chama bar Chanina," but this argues on what Rav Chama bar Chanina says. Rav Chama bar Chanina v'chein tan be'erish Shmuel says, "B'schar shleisha zachal l'shleisha." In the merit of three things, they merited other three things. B'schar chema v'chalav. In the merit of the butter and the milk, zachal l'man, they merited the man. Okay, that's exactly what we said before. In the name of Rabbi Yehuda Marav. In the reward for Avram serving, Zachul Amodanan, they merited the clouds. Now that we did not say before. We didn't say that the clouds came from the Amodanan. We said that because of serving, Hashem stood by the cleft in the rock. Moshe was in the cleft of the rock, and Hashem passed by. Was able to see him. That's what was the serving. 1 second, Zachul Bereshel Miriam. Okay. The water, they merited the well. That's the same.
I thought before we attributed those miracles to the patriarch of nature.
This is Avram. Yeah. You're talking about that the people that were there at that time. You're talking about that the clouds were in the merit of Aaron. The well was in the merit of Miriam, and this was in the merit of Moshe. But how did they get that merit? And this came from Avram. You have to say something like that. Okay. Now it says Yukach Namat Mayim. Take a little bit of water, Rachatz Raglechem, and wash your feet. Amar Rab Yanai, Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yanai, the son of Rabbi Yishmael, says, "Amar Lei v'chi ba'arviyim chashad etanu shem mistachem lavak b'gleim v'yatzim meni Yishmael." You think we're Arabs that you suspect us of worshiping the dust on our feet? Yishmael came out of here. Now, I'm not sure what they mean like that. That you're accustomed to this because your son is Yishmael. How do they read that in the? Yeah, it is from you that Yishmael, who regularly does it, says come, and therefore This is in consonance the principle, he who suspects the innocent shall be stricken in his own body. Here, Avram wrongly suspected the angels of idolatry, and as a punishment, he had to suffer the blow of his own flesh. Yishmael developing this evil practice. They quote from the Marsha. So I just don't get the language here. Kvar yatsa mimeno Yishmael. Already Yishmael came out. It means Yishmael will come out. Will end up doing this. Okay.
What do they want to like punish Avram if he was the only one that believed in Hashem? Everyone else was an idolater.
Right. But if you suspect someone falsely, so a person gets stricken in his own body. So he suspected them. So that's why he ends up with Yishmael. That's what it's saying. And Hashem appeared to him in the plains of Mamre. And he was sitting at the entrance to the tent in the heat of the day. What does it mean, the heat of the day? Rav Chama Bar Chanina says, that was the third day after the bris. And Hashem came to visit Avram. Hashem took the sun out of its protection, so make it really hot. So that the tzaddik should not be bothered with guests. He sent Eliezer to go outside to find guests. He couldn't find anyone. Amar, he says, I don't believe you. That's what people say, that you can't trust a slave. He goes out. Hashem sees that he's at the door. That's what it says. It says, do not pass from your servant. What does it mean? Hashem is telling that? This is Abraham telling. This is Abraham telling the angels. The Holy One, blessed be, standing by the door. Oh, Abraham went out himself. He saw the Holy One, blessed be, standing by the doorway. Oh, it's not Hashem saw him by the doorway. Hashem sees that Avram is by the doorway. I wouldn't have thought that Chazi Leha Kadosh. I would have thought Chazi Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, and that explains what is written. And Avram said, "My Lord, if I find favor in your eyes, please pass not away from your servant." 37. In this verse, Avram asked that God's presence not depart while he went to attend to his guests. So we're missing a little piece of the pasuk over here. Let me get the pasuk up. Can I pull up the pasuk in this verse? The pasuk says, "Vayemar." It says Hashem or Ado, Hashem's name. There's a machlekes over there if that name of Hashem is a holy name or if it's just saying my master. So according to what we're saying now is this is following the opinion that it's holy name. Okay. Interesting, because it's missing that part of the pasuk. It only quotes the second part. Even the Chazda the Ka'asa v'Shari, since he sees that he's opening his the wound by the bris and he's closing it up, says it's not respectful to stand here. Who should not stand there? What does it say over there? And who's saying that it's not respectful to stand there? This is the angels, or this is God? Who's the he? He said, I guess Hashem said, it's not good manners to remain here. So Avram's presence, the divine presence never entered into Avram's tent for this reason, rather stood from afar. Okay. And now we go to the next part where it says the discussion with the angels. He lifts his eyes. There's three men there. Vayar, he sees them. It says again, Vayar, he sees them. Vayar to cross him and he runs to greet them. Vikara asu, kamala. First they came close. They see that he was in pain. So they said, oh, it's not appropriate for us to stand there. And so they started to go away. So he runs after them to get them back. Ma Nino, Shleisha Nashim, who are the three men? Three men are Michal, Gabriel, Rafal. The angel, Michal, Gabriel, and Rafal. Michael, Gabriel, and Rafal. How do you say Rafal and Raphael? Michal, Shabalavasa, Sarah. What did Rafal? I'm sorry. Michal, Michal, Shabalavasa, Sarah. Michal came to give the good news to Sarah that she's going to have a baby. Rafal, Shabalarapias, Abraham. Rafal went to heal Abraham. He came to heal Abraham. And Gabriel, Gabriel went to turn over Sodom. Baksiv, the problem is, it says that two angels came to Sodom. But you need two for if only one is there to turn over Be'erev in the evening. The Gemara answers, the Azal Michal Bahadei L'Shasri L'Light. Because Michal went along with Gabriel to save light. The Kanami the Ksiv, I'll prove it to you. It says, Vayafach Armael, like Ksiv Vayafchu. It says, and he turned over these cities. It doesn't say that they turned over. So one of them was doing the turning over the cities, one of them was saving light. Shmami na. Ma'ishnal Gabi Avram the Ksiv came Tasak Shedi Barta. How come by Avram it says that we'll do whatever he asked them to stay, they stayed. Why by light does it say that he pestered them until they what's the word by Yiftzar? He urged them until they agreed. Rabbi Lazar explains, you can refuse a regular person, but you can't refuse a great person. Okay. It's written, and I will take bread. And it's also written, and it says, and I will, and it doesn't say I will. And it says, and he ran to get meat. He told them he's going to serve them bread. But instead of serving them, together with serving them bread, he even gets them meat. Amar Rabbi Elazar says, another Rabbi Elazar, the Kanshet said, it's another statement from Rabbi Elazar. Kanshet Tzadikim Aimermat Vaisim Harbe. Righteous people, they talk little and they do a lot. Rishon, but wicked people, Aimer Harbe, they talk a lot. Afilamat and they don't even do a little bit, just a lot of talk. Minala, and where do we see this? From Ephraim. Originally it says shekel kesef. It says, what's the problem? It's a land of 400 coins value. Don't worry about it. You can take it for free. And it says Vishma Avram El Ephraim Vishkol Avram Ephraim as a kesef shedibas neches shekel kesef. And it says that he paid him the 400 coins. First he wants to give it to him for free, and then he takes the money. The Leishakim in the country, he took these large coins, country. The Karle Latikla Kantira. There are places that call a shekel, they call it Kantira. Okay. It's these larger coins than regular. 100 mana was each one of them. 100 times 100. Ksiv, right? 400 times 100. Yeah. Each one of these coins was 100 coins, was a mana. Each one of these coins was 100 mana. And a mana is 100 sela. Mana is 25 sela. 100 dinarim, 100 zuz. Yeah, he paid him $1 million shekel. How does it get to the million? Let's do the calculations there.
Extremely large equivalent with 100 mon, like you said, or 2,500 ordinary shekels.
100 mana, which is 2,500 ordinary shekels. Each one of the coins was that. Is that all in total? Each one of the coins was 2,500 shekels. So 400 times 2,500 would be 1,000,000. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, six. 6 zeros. Okay. Ksiv, it's written Kemach Ksiv Silas. It says Vikach. What's the pasuk? Kemach Silas. Now it says both Kemach and Silas. Kemach is a coarse flour. Silas is a fine flour. Rabbi Yitzchak says Mikan. From here we see Sheisha Tzarei now be'archem Yosem Inish. That a man is a woman is more stingy with guests than a man is. So she only gave the Kemach, but he was ready to give Silas. Yeah. Rabbi Weberman told me a pshat that it's really exactly the opposite. Man says, I'll bring home guests. He said, but the wife says, what are we going to serve them? He says, don't worry, we'll give them the leftovers. Don't worry about anything. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't give them the leftovers. We have to go to the store. You have to you can't serve guests like that. So Einat Sarah Barchim, she's more, it's more, she suffers more. So not she's more stingy, the opposite. Because she's more generous, so she suffers more from having guests. And he was like, yeah, we'll give them whatever.
I think women are better with the budget.
Get married. Hillel's giving some insights into marriage.
No.
He's saying that men are better at budgeting than women.
Don't try this at home.
I said get married. He says the women are better. Oh, you said the women are better. Women are better. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Different brewer, they calculate everything.
Gvura doesn't always mean that. That's the problem with Hasidus, is that Gvura can mean, when it says Gvuras Geshamim, the rain pours with a lot of strength. It just pours and pours and pours. How do you know it means that calculated? Maybe it means that it comes, they spend like as if they're throwing the money hard.
Guy's wife's credit card gets stolen. He starts seeing all these charges. Like, sorry, leave with them. They're spending less than my wife.
Did you hear that, Reb Naftali? Jeff said that there's someone's wife's credit card got stolen, and he starts seeing all these charges. So he said, oh, "Don't worry about it. It's better than my wife's charges. They're spending less than me." Okay, Ksiv. It's written in the pasuk Lushi. I see you guys knead the flour and make cookies, make ugais, cakes. Ksiv, and it says this is bread, and they called it cakes. Ksiv, and it's written Vikachema v'chalav v'benavakar v'ilo lechem le'aisi. What happened to the bread? He never brought the bread out to the table. It says le'ais lekamayo. He didn't bring the bread. Amar Ephraim Maksha Talmidei Shel Reb Meir Mishpei Reb Meir. So Ephraim Maksha, the student of Reb Meir, says name Reb Meir Avram Avinu Eichel Chulam B'Tara Yavasar Menu Aisim Person need Avram Avinu never ate impure bread. So and his wife that day became a nida, even though she was 99, but she got her cycle back. By Yomi love, they said to Avram, Ayesar Stecha, where is Sarah, your wife? By Yomi, he says that she's in the tent. I guess they were eating outside. So obviously Sarah is coming to tell us that Sarah was very modest. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Vitim Rab Yitzchak. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Rav, and some say Rabbi Yitzchak said they knew that she was in the tent. So why did they say in the tent? They wanted him to notice how special she was that she was in the tent. Rabbi Yosef says wanted to send her the cup of blessing after they bench. They said they benched on a cup, so they sent it there. Tani Mishum Rabbi Yossi was taught in the name of Rabbi Yossi. Lama nakad al ayay love. It says they said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" Now, the letters Aleph, Yud, and Vav have a dot on top in the Torah text. There's a dot on top. Usually, the Torah doesn't have any dots, but those letters, in some other words as well, they have dots on it. It says Lim the Torah derech eretz is coming to teach us proper etiquette. That a person should ask. Aya means like where, right? And a person should ask about his hostess. Well, 1 second, is that true? You're not supposed to ask how a woman's doing. It says, well, with their husband, you're allowed to ask. Now it's the Tosfos over here and Rashi. They say it doesn't mean to say how she's doing, but it means to say where is she. Not that they should ask her how she's doing. You ask the husband how she's doing, according to Rashi. According to Tosfos, it's only ask where she is.
Where Sarah?
Where is Sarah?
And it's interesting. In the commentary, it says that the angels had gone to other houses, and the woman was like visible. And
the angels went to other houses.
Yeah.
What? The article here has a note, which I don't know. Listen to this note. Let you say what your opinion is. By inquiring as to Sarah's whereabouts, the angels implied that in all other homes in which they had dined, the lady of the house was visible. It thus indicated that Sarah was more modest than other women. Rashi. Now, Rashi doesn't say that the angels dined in other homes. Rashi just says that Sarah was different than all her friends. Not that the angels dined in other homes. I didn't know the angels were going around visiting other people other than Avram.
I'm with you. That's why I was very surprised.
Yeah, they're adding that in. It's which they had dined is in brackets also. I don't know where they're getting that from.
And didn't one of the angels went and told Sarah about the Lord? That she was not happy to.
Okay.
I remember the angel had gone into the tent.
Even though Avram and Sarah were both on in years, even though they were both exceedingly saintly, there was nevertheless a need to endear the wife to the husband. We learn from this far-reaching significance of domestic tranquility and harmony of Chaim Shmulevitz. I didn't know they quote like the later commentaries. Okay. Well, where are we holding? After I've been dried up, I'm going to get my cycle back. Rav Chizda says, after the skin of the flesh has like withered, I guess, in the increase of wrinkles. The skin is going to get smooth and the wrinkles are going to go away. And the beauty is going to come back. It says, and my master is old, talking about her husband. Her husband can't have children. Uksiv, Vanizakanti. It says, when Hashem said, why did Sarah laugh? She said that she is old. Hashem didn't say exactly what Sarah said. Sarah said, my husband is old. He won't be able to father children. And Hashem repeated it to Avram, saying that she said, I am old. I won't be able to father children. Tanad Rabbi Shmuel, taught in the house of Rabbi Shmuel, Gadol Shalom, greatest speech, Afil HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shinabai, that even Hashem changed the exact details in order to bring peace, that it shouldn't be that Sarah said something negative about Avram.
Did we learn in Yevamos that Sarah was an Elanite?
Oh, there was something like that.
The Elanite have a cycle?
I don't know.
The idea that Rabbi Yosef had, that they asked about Sarah so they could give her the cup of wine.
Benjamin.
You don't follow that?
We pass the cup around after benching. We don't always bench on a cup. The people that bench on a cup, they pass it to the other people to say the blessing, to have some of the wine. So, but Titzchak Sarah, the Kirba Sarah laughed. Shinema, as it says, Sarah laughed inside, and she said, "My master is old. How am I going to have? How is we going to have children if he's old?" Hashem said to Avram, "How could we have children when I am old?" That's what Sarah said. But Tamer, and she said, "Mimi lel Avram hinikavanim Sarah." Who would tell Avram that Sarah will be nursing children? Kama banim hinika Sarah. How many children did Sarah nurse? Amar Ablevi Yisem Shagamal Avram Eses Benai Asasuda Gedayla. That day that Avram weaned Yitzchak, he made a big feast. Everyone was laughing at them. They say, "You see this older couple? They bring this baby they found in the marketplace. They say it's our child. They're making a big feast just to prove that they had a baby, even though it's not true. They're saying that they just found the baby." Ma'asa Avram Avinu. What did Avram Avinu do? Invited all the great people of the generation. And Sarah invited their wives. Everyone brought their children. And they didn't bring the nurses. And a miracle happened. And Sarah's breasts opened up. She was able to nurse like fountains, like two fountains. She was able to nurse all the children. They were still laughing. If maybe a miracle happened for Sarah, but the miracle didn't happen for Avram. Immediately Yitzchak's face changed and appeared to be like Avram. Everyone said that Avram gave birth to Yitzchak. Yeah, that's a little surprising that even when they have this miracle that Sarah's nursing, they still say, "Okay, it's only half a miracle." They still don't believe the other half. Yeah.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Mentioned that Sarah laughed. It was like a reflection of Abraham. That's why Hashem had Abraham why Sarah.
Interesting. Well, now it says Ad Avram la Yezikna. Until Avram, no one got old. Anyone that needed to talk to Avram would end up talking to Yitzchak. They would need to talk to Yitzchak. They would talk to Avram. There's like twins, so no one can tell each other apart. And they look at you like, I don't know what you're talking about. Also, Avram came by Rachme. He asked for mercy of Avizikna, and people became old. Shneim Avram Zakim Babayam. Avram was old; he came in his days. Ad Yaakov la. No one ever got weak when they were getting when they didn't get sick before they passed away. They would just pass away. Also Yaakov Yaakov daven that people should get sick before they pass away. Shnemar Vayemer li Yosef hine avicha chayla. Yeah, Rabbi Avigdor Miller. He describes very interesting things. It's like it would be too hard on people if a parent would pass away suddenly. So first Hashem makes them sick, and then they become a burden on the people, and then pass away. It softens the blow to the children. They get sick when they're older. But that's not what this Gemara is talking about. This Gemara is talking about that they should be able to talk to the family. He told the Yosef, "Behold, your father is sick." Yeah. Yeah, and
seems to contradict earlier words where Sarah's saying, "No, my skin is wrinkled and withered." That was before.
yeah.
Now it's saying people didn't look like they got old.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, Jeff has a good question, saying that before it said that her skin was wrinkled. So obviously, so they were looking old.
Same thing with Avram. They were saying, "Oh, look at this old man." Like if people didn't age, like he wouldn't look like an old man.
They didn't say, "Look at this old man." They said a man of 100. They knew he was 100 because they saw his passport said 100 on it. It didn't have to look old. But I guess the question is the other way: that if they didn't look old, then what about them was old? They had the same strength. They weren't sick. The same strength as a younger person. What about them was old if they didn't look old? It says they would die. They would pass away from sneezing. They would sneeze, and that's how the neshama. They had this. One of the camps made a play where grandfather was going, like he's about to sneeze, and the whole family came running to and then he's like relaxed. He didn't sneeze. Anyway, okay. So let's try to get to the Mishnah. Adas Elisha, until Elisha came, the chalish ve'atpach. No one ever got sick and then got healed. As Elisha ve'atpach. Elisha came, he davened, and he got healed. It says that Elisha got sick with the sickness, with the illness that he died from. Klal, that implies the chalachalachriti that he got ill before, things that he didn't pass away from. In other words, he recovered. It was sudden by Elisha got sick 3 times. One was because he pushed away Gehazi with 2 hands. Not supposed to push away someone with both hands. Supposed to give them a little bit of a option for them to return. Another one was because he incited the bears against the children when he was walking through the city. They said they started to call him names, a bald one or something, and so these bears came and ate 42 children. Right? Is that what it says? 42? I think it was 42. In the one that he died from. Okay. Now we say, this is Rabbi Yochanan ben Metzia tells his son, go tell them that you're only feeding them bread and beans. Did he tell him to say, I'm giving you bean bread, or I'm giving you bread and beans? It says by God, it needs to have a vav there. The lavras, like a stick that keeps the sailors in the middle of the river. They shouldn't get stuck on the stones that are there. So I guess the vav was like similar to the stick, because the vav is a straight letter. I think that's what the Gemara means. I'm not sure. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, no, it's not necessary. Everything goes according to the custom. And even if he said that he was going to feed them, it doesn't mean he's going to feed them more. Yeah. Well, what does it mean to say everything goes according to custom? This that it was taught in the Mishnah, or the Brisa, it's supposed to be. Someone hires works says, I'm gonna feed you like the workers of the city. Give them the least, the Rabbi Yeshua. Whatever the least, the minimal wage. Chum say, Chum say, no, you give the average wage. So that's what's Akala my. What's it coming to include? It's coming to include that the custom is you give the average of the custom, I guess. Okay. Leave it over here. Have a good day.